Hello, our viewers. Welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Mabel, your host as always. Happy New Year to you all. It's 2023. And yes, we are back again to our podcast, to our lovely stories, to our good people. And yes, if it's your first time to tune in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Today, we are with a friend of ours, a good friend of ours, and he's going to be telling us a bit about himself. And yes, and a lot of good stuff.
We are the children of the rainbow flag.
Please tell our viewers your names.
Hello, I'm Pliny Sukumani, and for past 10 years I have been supporting, among others, LGBT plus refugees at the Peter Tatchell Foundation. And I had the pleasure of working with Out and Proud for a very long time, and I've seen the group grown from humble beginnings and today having their own YouTube channel, podcast, and to see it growing and developing. It's been a real pleasure so far.
Yes, and yes, thank you so much for honoring us. It is an honor because I have seen you and I've seen all the great works you have done as part of the foundation, and of course you have to also put yourself out there, and it's really an opportunity to have you on this platform. And I believe many people are going to learn or maybe be inspired and as well get informed from whatever you're going to be sharing with us.
Well, I hope so, and not bored too much, probably.
They definitely won't. Yes, Pliny. Who is Pliny?
Who is Pliny? Well, Pliny used to be a very, very shy young man from Mauritius, originally from Mauritius. So I came here during my studies, and I was not out at the time. Still, knowing that I was gay, I was comfortable with myself, but, I thought at the time, back home, the situation was not very LGBT plus friendly. So I was working at the University of Wolverhampton, and that's when I did my coming out. I found a very supportive environment there that encouraged me to be myself and just to explore myself. And I slowly got engaged with staff LGBT network, the staff and the student network, and the rest is a little bit history.
Yes, well, that is a good start to start from as well. And I like the fact that you were not like I like what you said, like you had to explore about yourself. I guess that is something most of us miss out on, and we want to always quickly jump onto what we think it is or what we've been told we should be. Well, that is really a good time to you as well. That is a lesson learned, I say. To me, I don't know, it could be to some of you as well. And yes, well, you have said you came here for studies. What did you study?
Well, I actually did my undergraduate back in Mauritius because, of money issues. You couldn't afford just the fees that was imposed on international students. So I worked 2 years back in Mauritius, saved some money, and then I came and did my master's here in international business with a specialty in cross-cultural issues. And it was a really good environment because very mixed environment, very international, students from all around the world. And I think in many of the groups that I was working then, we had somebody from Nigeria, somebody from Hong Kong, somebody from Kashmir, somebody from India, myself. So, it was a very, very mixed group. And I think you learn a lot by being exposed to people from different backgrounds, different ways of thinking. And also the good thing is, over time, these people who didn't know that I was gay found out that I was gay as well. And some of them was kind of amazed, other was kind of dumbstruck. But what it did help was it broke the perception of how they thought gay people were. Because some people might think, they've got 4 eyes and 2 heads and 5 arms, or, but that did help. And I thought, maybe if people just simply knew more how we are, it would help to break a lot of barriers, a lot of homophobia, a lot of misconceptions as well.
Yes. And how did your family find out? How did your family take that news about you coming out?
Well, because you need to think at the time. I mean, I did my coming out maybe 10, maybe sort of 14 years ago, something like that, 14, 15 years ago. And both my parents were in the medical field. They're both nurses. But at the time, I think it was only 5 or 6 years before homosexuality was removed from a World Health Organization as a mental illness. So they were not happy. They were not happy, very unhappy. There was no huge argument, but very cold. It's only later that I heard that, my father and my mother had a huge argument, and my mother cried all night, I'm defective, I'm not a real person, it's all a fault. Everybody was blaming each other. But I must say that, I had a difficult first year with them because I felt I've lost my parents. I felt, the family was gone. But what was very interesting is we didn't have a major fallout. We sort of was very distant for a year, and then very slowly, and I must stress, very slowly, I started to build more bridges to try to talk to them. And also, I was very lucky to have a number of friends who have been long-time activists who were part of the first Pride of 1972. So they have dealt with all these issues. So they suggested some books that I could send to my parents. And, it was always very nice. I said, Mum and Dad, I'm not asking you to agree how I live my life, but if you could just perhaps read that one page, this one chapter, that would really help. And, and things change over time. If today somebody told me when I did my coming out, I will take my father to a gay film festival, 10 years later, I would say, you're dreaming, it's impossible, it's never going to happen. But yes, my father came to a lesbian and gay film festival. 2 years ago, my mother came to Pride in Mauritius to take photos of me at Pride, locally there. So I think it's been a journey, not just for me, but for my family as well. And so far, it's been great. And I've been able to break barriers and to help other people. And also, I think I was the first visible gay person in the family. Not just visible, but militantly visible. We are there on the street with the placards, protesting for gay rights or demanding LGBT rights and other human rights as well. But, I think that must have been a little bit of a shock for some people. But I think during my last visit, I can see attitude have changed. I can't say that I've changed these people all by myself because I believe that whenever change happens, it is only through a collective effort. Yeah. There are groups like in Mauritius, like Arc-en-Ciel or Reconnect, who are working on the ground, and they're also helping to change how people view LGBT rights and homosexuality. But I think I have played my role in that story.
Okay. It's good, like your parents got to, to reach wherever they are, and a big thank you to them, I would say. Yes. And so would you say, like, back in your home country, in Mauritius, like, how is the society, like, how is the community, how does the government, how do they view the LGBTI plus community?
I think in the past 12 years, there have been massive change. Massive change. I still remember when I was there, very young, uncertain, in the closet, that you were meeting somebody. There was no grinder at the time. And believe me, there existed a time there was no grinder to meet anybody. You had to phone somebody, there was somebody else with a phone. And, say, wave at me and say, what are you wearing? To be sure that, that's he's gay. And somebody's not going just to entrap you and beat you up. It was very scary. But even then, there was no gay bars or places. And there was an organization who used to have one night every 2 or 3 months or something where people could just be themselves. But during my last visit, what was amazing was, even if you open Grindr now, you see a lot of people just showing their faces, which before people would not be happy to be out. Yeah. So this is an indication that there is an increasing amount of self-confidence in the LGBT community in Mauritius. Okay. And Mauritius is very strange because while there are laws preventing discrimination based on sexual orientation, there is still a law, which is a relic of a colonial past in Mauritian law, which penalized sodomy and therefore homosexuality as well. Okay. And this has not yet been removed. There is still, it's in the High Court in Mauritius at the moment. Okay. So there are activists challenging this law. And yes, things have changed, things have progressed, and even the police came to one of the LGBT events saying, "No, don't worry, nobody's going to get arrested. We understand you." So there have been a journey there as well, a progress as well. But of course, we need to remember, or I need to remember, and to remind people around me as well, that whenever there is progress, like in the case of Mauritius, there is also a minority that becomes more and more vocal against LGBT rights. For instance, there have been pride in Mauritius, I think 7 or 8 times, but in 2018, a minority of Muslims of extremists, Muslims decided to protest against pride. And they even had violent threats on the pride marches, and pride could not take place. So a year after one, they did a very, very toned down small pride in Mauritius, in Port, which is the capital again. And then just when COVID last year, in 2021, I was lucky to be in Mauritius as well, and for Pride there, and it was tense because we didn't know what people would be doing, what would be happening, but everything went very smoothly.
Yeah, I saw some pictures.
Yeah, of course you'll see some pictures. Yeah, so there is progress. But I need to stress as well that recently there have been some statistics, there have been a report which shows there is increasing tolerance in Mauritius, which is great. But there's a big but.
There's a but.
There's a big but. The but is, the people says, we don't mind the gay, we don't mind the lesbian,
but
we don't
when
mind
you
the
go down there,
no, what happens? But we mind if they are our brothers, our sisters. If it is somebody else, we don't mind.
Okay. So basically, are they trying to if you're their family, they won't accept it?
They won't accept it. But if it's somebody else, it's kind of okay. But I see that as progress, because before, even that they wouldn't accept. So at least things are moving. And when I talk to people who are in their 80s and 70s in England here, and they tell me that's exactly how England used to be.
Yeah.
So we're all on a journey. So that's the situation. There is progress. There is still work to do, and wish them all the best. If there's anybody from Mauritius there, make sure you like this video. All right?
Yes, guys, don't forget to like, to share, and subscribe. We're sharing good stories, and we're sharing information, and inspiration as well. Yes, and on that note, we've seen how it is like in Mauritius, and we've seen how you came in England and your studies and so on and so forth. I understand you work with the Peter Tatchell Foundation.
Yes, indeed. How
did you get to work with them?
Well, that's a story. We have to go back into ancient times, almost when the dinosaurs were still roaming the earth, in the year 2012.
Okay.
That was the year we had the huge campaign for same-sex marriage in England.
Okay.
And I got really involved then at local level. At the time, I used to live in the Midlands, involved a lot in Wolverhampton, Birmingham, and Coventry. Okay. And what happened was I was trying to gather more momentum around on the local area, and I was contacting different groups and working. Like in Wolverhampton, I remember there was 3 MPs. We went to see all the 3 MPs with small delegations saying, you need to support us on that. Will you vote yes? We really tried to push it hard. We had a signing day at the university. We got the councillors to come as well. And I did that because I was so angry in 2012 that some people were having these very, very stupid arguments. Like, if 2 women get married, civilization will stop. The world will stop, there will be floods, panic,
Okay.
People will start marrying their dogs, their cats or horses. And these were people in England having these views on TV. So that made me so angry that I wanted to change something. So I got involved around, and I contacted, among many organizations, I contacted the Peter Tatchell Foundation, Peter Tatchell, and he replied to me. And a year later, there was a vacancy within his organization. And I thought, it's not every day that you've got the opportunity to work with Peter Tatchell. I thought, I will go and try it. I will try it for only 1 year. That was what I told myself. And actually, this year it's my 10th year of working with a foundation.
Well, that is a long time for a year.
Yeah. For 1 year, maybe I don't know how to count. That's why it's.
That is a long time for you. Yeah, but I think, they really are doing a great job. You are doing a great job. Well, Peter Tatchell Foundation does do a lot of things. You usually do rights. Is it the...
We do a report every year about
report.
a yearly report whereby we showcase people that we have helped and stories that will help to highlight the issues, especially with LGBT plus asylum seekers. And I need to stress that the foundation supports people who are not just LGBT, other refugees as well, but a majority of people coming to us are LGBT asylum seekers or people seeking asylum. And very often they come from places which was hard, whether they are coming from Uganda, sometimes Nigeria. We got recently from last year, there was a huge increase of people from Afghanistan because of the Taliban there.
How do you identify these people? How do you identify these organizations that you support?
People come to us first, and usually they come either by referral from their friends or just from Google searches. If anyone searches for LGBT rights in England or support, they will stumble on the foundation's information. And then Peter himself is in the news very frequently. And our latest campaign in Qatar was blasted everywhere from the Netherlands to USA to Australia. So people see us as the first point of contact. So that's how they do come to us. And then if there are complex cases that we can't deal totally, then we refer them to other specialist organizations.
Yeah. So do you have let's say, so apart from when the people do come to you, do you have, let's say, maybe a yearly schedule, say you're going to be doing this, apart from the usual events that you do? Or does it just happen there's something that's going on, say the World Cup is happening, and then this has been recognized, this is the moment where we can use this platform to highlight what's happening in Qatar? And do you wait for those moments, or do you have say something planned out, or to say, okay, now we're going to do this, we're going to approach this, we're going to to cover this and that?
No, we do both. We do both because, for the World Cup, we knew it was happening. We had already planned a long time, but we had to keep the plan secret because trying to get Peter into Qatar was not an easy task. So these things, when we know something is happening, for Sochi, for instance, or we had the football cup in Russia, Peter was again in Moscow. So when we know something major is happening, we try to plan something. However, we are also reactive because if something happens somewhere, and LGBT activists, for example, have been attacked, or LGBT rights are being threatened, for instance, by a new bill in Uganda, then we have to react to events. And I think one of the strengths of the foundation is that we are both able to be proactive and reactive on LGBT rights.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Well, most of our viewers, I should say, some of them, they have seen you around. They have seen you, we've seen you on the demonstrations. You've come to some of our events as well. And they're like, who is this person? We always keep seeing him around. Where, what does he do? What does he do? Where does he come from? I think this is a good opportunity because they are going to know. And on that note, I would like for you, please, to give, briefly describe or explain to them what exactly it is that Peter Tatchell Foundation does.
Okay, well, Peter Tatchell Foundation, we are a human rights organization first and foremost, but with a very strong LGBT plus focus. That's what we are. And our actions have got sort of three strands. We've got one, which is the casework, looking after LGBT plus refugees and also victims of homophobia, hate crime. For instance, if there is in a school or somewhere people think they've been treated in a homophobic way or there's discrimination, they come to us and then we can guide them through a process how we can make amends, or how people can make amends, or what we can do to challenge these institutions which are seen as being homophobic. We do campaigning. And campaigning, like we had the one for Qatar, we've got one as well about Sri Lanka, which is a human rights campaign. It's about trying to send the ex-president of Sri Lanka to The Hague for war crimes. So it's a non-LGBT campaign, but that's on the track as well. We've got decriminalizing homosexuality in the Commonwealth. As you know, many countries, more than 60% of the countries of the Commonwealth still criminalize homosexuality. So this has been an ongoing campaign for many years as well. And we also support minority groups. For instance, we have the LGBT Muslim Solidarity Campaign. We recognize that Muslims in the United Kingdom face discrimination, face anti-Muslim prejudice. And being minorities, LGBT plus and Muslims, we need to join forces together, liberal forces as well in the Muslim community, to try to progress things and remove all the hate. We don't want any hate around. So these are some of the campaigns that are always ongoing. We have football, kick it out, football in homophobia in football. I was saying football in homophobia, that's a little bad. So homophobia in football. So this has also been ongoing for a long time. And, and Qatar was one another example where we have been able to push our message out. So these are some of the campaigns that we are doing, and we are always sort of supporting always the rights of oppressed people, whether they are straight or LGBT. As I mentioned, like the Tamils in Sri Lanka, we have got the Balok people in Balochistan, that's a part of Pakistan, who wants autonomy. Okay. We got the Awazi Arabs in Iran. There's a section of Arabs in Iran that are being persecuted because they're not of the same religion group and ethnicity as most of the Iranians, and their lands are being exploited because it's rich in resources. And I think some years ago, myself and Peter as well, we disrupted a meeting of an Anglo-Iranian oil company. And we were briefly detained by the police van. So, we do take these minority rights issues very seriously. And not just for LGBT plus, but for other groups. Because we stand with the oppressed. Always.
Always. Yes, I've noticed you've mentioned countries which are Muslim countries. Do you not face any challenges while them knowing you're a foundation which focuses mostly on LGBTI plus Q community, and then do they really always accept the support you give to them, or do they not have any biases or prejudices towards that matter?
Well, you see, one of the aim also is to build bridges to show that as minorities, if we stand together, we are a lot closer.
Yes.
Because by being there, we are able then to encourage other people. For instance, I know the first gay person from the Afghan community, the first openly gay person from the Balok community in Pakistan as well. So this encourages these people for greater visibility and also promotes greater tolerance as well.
I think it does really break the barriers. Yeah. And can we take a short break? You ready? Yes. Well, we're back again for our part 2. Yes, we're still with our guests, our lovely guests, Pliny. I don't really know how to pronounce the other name.
Oh, the surname. Well, most people I try to tell them just forget about it and call me Pliny. But actually, you can pronounce as Sukumani. So
Sukumani.
Yes, it's not as complicated as it looks. Yeah,
it's not. It's just so hard to put. You don't know. You can say the bad pronunciations. Trust me, I rehearsed for that, but then I was like, no, I will have to ask him. Yes, we're here again with our good friend and the guest today, Pliny. I'll keep to that. And yes, we've spoke about, he's shared with us his story and his experience, from his home country, Mauritius. And yes, his experience at uni and his coming out and, his family as well. And he has told us about the work he does. He's been with the Peter Tatchell Foundation, and he's been supporting many people, advocating for all human rights. And yes, he has done a lot in support of the LGBTI plus Q community and the human rights as well. And on that note, we received a question from one of our viewers right now, and they say they are part of the LGBT community and they are not in this country. And their question was like, can you support them to come?
Well, one of the issues is the foundation is a very small organization with extremely limited funding. And we've got only 2 full-time members of staff and 1 part-time. So this does limit our reach. We can certainly help people a lot more once they are in the country here. And we unfortunately cannot support them with extraction. The one organization that does support people with extraction is called Rainbow Railroad. They are doing some great work, but you must imagine as well that they are being submerged with application as they have been in Afghanistan at the moment as well. But they try to look at the most pressing case around. So Rainbow Railroad would be the best bet at the moment.
Yes, viewers, you've heard Rainbow Railroad. You could maybe try Google and find out what the organization does, and we shall do the same, and maybe we'll be sharing more details with you in the future as we go on, because we need to find out how the process really, how it works, how it goes by, and how they really do get to have these extractions as well. Yes, and on another note, we there's been this the Rwanda extractions going on, the deportations, and what are your views? What does the foundation have to say about that?
Well, of course, the Rwanda idea of sending people applying for Rwanda is simply inhumane. And also we think Rwanda is not a safe place for LGBT plus people to be sent while the decision is being taken, And there is no hesitation. We do condemn this decision, and we will certainly fight against that in the days to come. And this might even be a campaign we will be looking into. But of course, we support the right of refugees of a decent, humane application procedure here. And people come to the UK out of desperation. There is no travel agency for refugees. People usually leave their country out of desperation. It's the last resort. They have tried everything else and it has failed. They're being left with only one choice. Leave a country where they were born, leave a family, leave their friends, leave anything that they have behind and escape with their life. And they come to England seeking sanctuary. People who are facing these issues should be welcome in the United Kingdom.
Yes, they should be welcome. Well, we all deserve equal rights. We all deserve safety on top of it all. We all deserve to feel safe wherever we are. And if you live no one really wants to be separated from their beloved ones, their family. And if you are pushed to that level to have to live, to run for your life, I think it really is inhumane to be sent back to a country, especially people who live close to that same country. Well, I think it's really very inhumane, and it still puts especially the LGBTI plus community at risk. It's not safe at all. And yes, as he has said, very soon, maybe we'll be informing you as well about what will happen. And I hope you will come out and join us in demonstration and will voice out and speak for those people who are being put in such situations, because I think this is a system injustice in general. It is. And yes, on that point as well, there are people who are now currently struggling to get legal aid, which has become an issue right now currently. Well, I don't know how, I don't know if you have taken note of this, and if you have, are there any opinions you would like to share in that regard?
Well, I need to stress that what we are seeing today is the culmination of years and years of creating a hostile environment for refugees. I mean, even in the days of Theresa May, we had vans around saying, if you're an illegal immigrant, go away, or you will be deported, you will be arrested. So what we are seeing today is a product of a long series of action taken by successive conservative governments to make the life of people seeking refuge more difficult. We had to fight, not just the foundation, but we, as a coalition of different organizations, had to fight with the Home Office just to get statistics about the number of refusals and acceptance of people that was applying for refugee status, you know. And even when these statistics were being released, they were released first as experimental statistics, which means that they could change it. You know, at some point. So it has been a long journey. Now we got the statistics a little bit better, but it has been a long struggle. And again, as you mentioned, the legal aid being removed, it's again putting people's lives in danger, because somebody being deported back to their home country risk to be harmed or severely injured. They have faced life-threatening threats in their home country, and this is why they have escaped, trying to seek sanctuary in the United Kingdom.
Yes, Pliny, we are very happy we've had you on our platform today, and thank you so much for sharing with us. And well, I've asked a few questions. Well, I don't know if it was a lot, but yes, you really did share information that is really, it is really going to be worth the while, I am sure, because it was really informative to me, and I believe to our viewers as well. And I would like to ask you if you think there is anything else you'd like to add, or a question I didn't add, well, or anything you would love to share with our viewers today. It could be, anything that has to do with the foundation, something that has to do with maybe your personal experience as well, or as a member of the LGBT plus community. Please do share it with us.
Well, I will share, two little things. First, I will say that, being out and visible is very important, because we, the LGBT plus community, are an invisible minority. We are invisible. There's no physical markers of difference that shows us being LGBT. Maybe if we all just turn blue, that might help. But until then, we all need to be out more visible, because that helps to break barriers, that helps us in terms of visibility, and helps to bring change. The second thing is, wherever people are and think the situation is bad, I say there's always hope. There's always hope that things will get better. As I mentioned earlier, when I talk to activists who have been here at the first Pride in 1972, they tell me that they never dreamt in the past 40 years that England would have made such a progress on LGBT rights. They thought that would have been impossible, and yet it has happened. In fact, our movement has been one of the most successful liberation movements recently. So I think there's still hope, there's still work to be done, and don't give up. Let's keep fighting.
Yes, we shall keep fighting. And yes, we have with hands joined, and we all, with all the good people, with all these people coming out to stand up for us, to speak up for us, to share platforms with us, to create awareness and support us as the LGBTI plus community. I believe we shall make it.
We shall make it indeed.
We shall make it. We shall. I've been informed you recently had received an award, and could you please tell us more about that?
It's part of a group, GIN. It's a gay Indian network that I'm part with as well. And our group sort of won a National Diversity Award. And it's very, very important, I think, because we shouldn't be shy to say that there's still a lot of homophobia within the Asian community. And one of the ways to fight it is certainly to be more visible and to be out there. And Jin has been doing a fantastic work so far into building bridges with different people.
And yes, our viewers, as you have seen Pliny, he is here with us, and he's part of the Peter Tatchell Foundation. And then we are Opal, I guess some of you are wondering or are questioning, well, how did he come to be on our platform? He is going to share with us how he has come to be here with us on this Opal platform.
Well, sort of almost 10 years ago, when I started with a foundation, Opal was just a very, very small group, unknown to most people around. And we had a very small office near Tower Bridge in London. And we used to have Opal members coming, Abe and Idrissa as well, or more commonly known as Coach, coming around and screening the people around. And we used to always to help them, whether with printouts, with slogans, with placards. And for me, it's a real pleasure to have seen Opal grown, because I think I featured Abe in one of my first casework report saying, look, this guy, we've helped him. And at that time, I still remember Abe just won an Oscar from the NAS Foundation for the work that he's been doing with HIV and sexual health. And we wanted to show, look, this was a person seeking asylum. We supported him. We encouraged him. We empowered him. And today he is helping others with Out and Proud. And I think this is what makes this organization, Opal, so wonderful, because there are people who have gone through the system. Like, they know how hard it is, how soul destroying this system is on you. And still, when they're out of it, they want to help others. And we're really happy that over the years, with help, advice, and support, Opal has been flourishing and growing and expanding, and today, have won many different awards, the British LGBT Awards, the NDA Awards. And for me, it brings me a great pleasure to see that it's growing and you're continuing to help others as well.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, that is how Pliny is here with us today. That is how we are here sharing with the executive of Peter Tatchell Foundation on this platform. Thank you so much. And on behalf of OPA, I would like to thank the organization. I would like to thank you for agreeing to come and join with us and share with us today. And I would like to thank the foundation for all the support, because as far as I know, whenever OPA goes to Peter Tatchell Foundation, Peter Tatchell has the doors and the windows wide open to help and support people in need and all the asylum seekers and the refugees as well. And yes, and on that note, we do appreciate and would like to thank you so much for all the support you give to the organization.
Oh, thank you very, very much. And long may we continue to support you as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We hope so.
Yeah, hot news, breaking news. Okay, let's go.
Yes, our viewers, yes, this is Opal, and today we're having our Friday conversation stories, aka also podcast. And yes, we do have information to share, but then we always have good news. And yes, one of our friends, a member of Out and Proud, Lanre Orela, has just received his refugee status here in England. And yes, all that has been able to be done because of the support he has received from everyone around him, especially Peter Tatchell Foundation. And yes, it's good you had to be here to share the news when he received the call from his lawyers as well. And on that point, we really do thank you so much. And I believe when he sees this, he would wish he was here to thank you in front of everyone and the cameras as well. And Ranle, in any case, some of you do not know him. You have seen him. He's done several interviews, and he interviewed Peter Tatchell as well. I don't know if you were there with them, or have you met him before?
I've met Lanre before. In fact, I came to one, before you got to this lovely office here, I came to one of your other offices where I met Lanre there. And ever since we have been in touch, and you could hear the emotion in his voice when I spoke to him earlier. He was so happy, and I think he just couldn't believe it, but finally he's free. His life can really start now, a new life. It's amazing. And to know that we have been able to make that happen a little bit is great. It's fantastic.
It is. It is. It is a little bit, but a lot. Well, it is a little bit for the foundation, but it's someone's whole life to them. Like, it's like you've helped them. You've been part of that foundation stone. You have. And yes, I believe he does appreciate this. And not only him, me, myself as well. Well, I receive a lot of support from you guys, from the foundation. And I believe many of our other members as well have received the same, and we are very appreciative. Today we were with Pliny Sukumani and the executive officer for the Peter Tatchell Foundation. And yes, if you go back to the beginning of this podcast, you'll hear what he had to share with us. Great stories and information worth knowing. And yes, inspirational as well to a point. And yes, again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We have to create awareness. We have to put ourselves out there because we do exist. Thank you for tuning in. This is Out and Proud Friday Conversations. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow at GAY for our social gathering and at 56th Street for our workshop. Bye-bye. Have a lovely weekend. Ciao.
Hey, ciao. Hey. Excellent. Yeah. Do a picture.
Here?
Yeah.
All of us.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Sure.